There is a powerful shift that happens in a person's life when they stop waiting to feel ready and start acting as if they already are. The idea behind "act as if you are the best, no one is better than you" is not about pretending to be perfect or ignoring reality. It is about choosing a mindset that removes hesitation and replaces it with purpose. It is about stepping into a version of yourself that is confident, focused, and committed to growth even before the results fully appear. Most people spend a large part of their lives doubting themselves. They compare their abilities with others, they wait for approval, and they delay action because they feel they are not good enough yet. This way of thinking creates limits that are often stronger than actual obstacles. When you begin to act as if you are capable and worthy of success, your behavior changes. You take initiative, you face challenges with courage, and you begin to create opportunities instead of waiting for them. This concept is deeply connected to reality because every skilled individual once started as a beginner. The difference is not that they were always the best, but that they believed they could become better and acted accordingly. They showed up consistently, they improved their skills, and they refused to let fear define their path. Acting as if you are the best is not about competing with others, but about unlocking your own potential and refusing to settle for less than what you are capable of becoming. At the same time, this mindset requires honesty and responsibility. Belief without effort leads nowhere. You must be willing to learn to adapt and to put in the work required to grow. Acting as if you are the best means behaving like someone who is disciplined, resilient, and always improving. It means holding yourself to a higher standard, not because you are already perfect, but because you are committed to becoming stronger. This journey is not about instant transformation. It is about gradual progress, where your mindset shapes your actions and your actions shape your results. Along the way, you will face doubt, criticism, and failure, but each of these becomes a tool for growth when you approach them with the right perspective. This book explores how adopting this mindset can change the way you think, act, and live. It brings together motivation and reality, showing that confidence is not something you wait for, but something you build through action. By the end, you will understand that the true power lies not in proving you are better than others, but in becoming the best version of yourself and living with that belief every single day. Chapter 1. Understanding the meaning behind the statement. The statement "act as if you are the best, no one is better than you" carries a deeper meaning than it appears at first glance. It is not about declaring superiority over others or living in denial of reality. It is about stepping into a mindset that removes hesitation and replaces it with belief in your own ability to grow, perform, and succeed. Most people spend a large part of their lives holding themselves back, not because they lack ability, but because they lack belief. They wait for the perfect moment. They wait to feel confident. They wait for approval from others, and in doing so, they delay their own progress. This statement challenges that pattern. It encourages you to move before you feel ready and to trust yourself even when uncertainty exists. Acting as if you are the best means carrying yourself with intention. It means making decisions with clarity and approaching tasks with focus. When you adopt this mindset, your behavior begins to change naturally. You stop second-guessing every move. You stop shrinking yourself in front of others, and you begin to take ownership of your actions and your results. However, it is important to understand that this idea is not about arrogance. Arrogance is built on insecurity and the need to prove something to others, while true confidence is built on self-awareness and growth. Acting as if you are the best does not mean ignoring your weaknesses. It means not allowing those weaknesses to control your direction. You acknowledge where you need to improve, but you do not let that stop you from moving forward. There is also a strong connection between identity and action. When you see yourself as someone capable of excellence, your actions begin to align with that identity. You start preparing more seriously, you become more disciplined, and you hold yourself to higher standards. This shift does not happen overnight, but it begins the moment you decide to see yourself differently. Another important aspect of this mindset is that it removes unnecessary comparison. Comparing yourself constantly to others creates distraction and self-doubt. There will always be someone ahead of you in some way, and someone behind you in another. The goal is not to prove you are better than everyone else. The goal is to unlock your own potential and compete with your previous self. When you act as if you are the best, you are not claiming that no one else has value or skill. You are simply refusing to place yourself below anyone in your own mind. This internal equality creates strength. It allows you to walk into any situation without feeling inferior and without needing validation from others. At the same time, this mindset demands responsibility. If you choose to believe in your ability, you must also be willing to put in the effort required to grow. Belief without action leads to frustration, while action without belief leads to inconsistency. The power lies in combining both, where your mindset drives your effort and your effort strengthens your mindset in real life. This can be seen in how individuals approach challenges. When someone believes in their potential, they do not avoid difficult tasks, they step into them. Even when the outcome is uncertain, they understand that growth happens through experience, and they are willing to learn from both success and failure. Example 1. A student who has always performed at an average level decides to change their mindset. Instead of thinking they are not smart enough, they begin to act as if they are capable of excelling. They create a study routine, they ask questions in class, and they take their preparation seriously. Over time, their performance improves not because of sudden talent, but because their belief changed their actions. Example 2. A person starting a new job feels intimidated by experienced colleagues. Instead of staying silent and unsure, they choose to act with confidence. They participate in discussions. They take initiative in tasks, and they learn actively from feedback. Gradually, they earn respect and build confidence because they refuse to see themselves as less capable. This chapter sets the foundation for understanding that the statement is not about illusion, but about transformation. It is about choosing a mindset that pushes you to act at a higher level, even before you fully feel it, and through that process becoming stronger, more capable, and more confident in reality. Chapter 2. The psychology of acting. As if the idea of acting as if you are the best is deeply connected to how the human mind works. Your thoughts are not just passive experiences. They actively shape your behavior, your decisions, and ultimately your results. When you repeatedly tell yourself that you are not capable, your mind begins to accept that as truth, and your actions start to reflect hesitation and fear. On the other hand, when you begin to act as if you are capable, strong, and prepared, your brain starts adjusting to support that identity. This is because the mind looks for consistency between what you believe and how you behave. When there is a gap, it tries to close it, either by changing your actions or by changing your beliefs. This is why acting confident, even before you fully feel confident, can create real change. It sends a signal to your mind that you are someone who takes action, someone who faces challenges, and someone who does not step back easily. Over time, your brain accepts this pattern, and it becomes natural rather than forced. Another important psychological factor is internal dialogue. Every person has a constant stream of thoughts running in their mind. These thoughts can either build you up or hold you back. If your inner voice is filled with doubt, hesitation, and fear, your energy drops, your focus weakens, and your performance suffers. When you adopt the mindset of acting as if you are the best, your internal dialogue begins to shift. Instead of thinking, "What if I fail?" you begin to think, "How can I make this work?" Instead of saying, "I am not ready," you begin to say, "I will learn as I go." This change may seem small, but it has a powerful effect on your behavior. There is also a strong link between visualization and action. When you imagine yourself succeeding, your brain experiences a version of that reality. This reduces fear and increases familiarity, making it easier to take action in real situations. This is why many high performers mentally rehearse their actions before actually doing them. At the same time, it is important to stay grounded in reality. Acting as if you are the best does not mean ignoring challenges or assuming success without effort. Your mind needs both belief and evidence to stay strong, which means you must support your mindset with consistent action and improvement. Fear is another psychological barrier that this mindset helps to overcome. Fear often comes from uncertainty and the possibility of failure. When you act as if you are capable, you stop focusing only on what could go wrong and start focusing on what you can do. This reduces the power of fear and allows you to move forward. Habits also play a key role in shaping your mindset. When you repeatedly act in a certain way, your brain creates patterns that become automatic. If you constantly avoid challenges, you develop a habit of hesitation. But if you regularly step forward, take risks, and face discomfort, you build a habit of confidence. Over time, these small repeated actions create a strong identity. You no longer need to force yourself to act confident because it becomes part of who you are. This is the long-term impact of acting as if you are the best. It is not just a temporary boost, but a gradual transformation of your mindset. Example: a person who is afraid of public speaking decides to change their approach. Instead of avoiding opportunities, they begin to act as if they are confident. They prepare their content, practice speaking, and volunteer to present, even though they feel nervous at first. Their repeated actions train their mind to become more comfortable, and eventually they develop real confidence. Example: 2. A beginner in a new skill, such as learning a language, may feel overwhelmed at the start. But if they act as if they are capable of mastering it, they stay consistent, they practice daily, and they engage without fear of mistakes. Over time, their brain adapts and learning becomes easier because their mindset supported continuous effort. This chapter shows that acting as if you are the best is not just a motivational idea. It is rooted in how the mind functions. Your beliefs influence your actions, and your actions reshape your beliefs. When you use this cycle intentionally, you create a powerful path toward growth and confidence. Chapter 3: Reality check. Confidence must be backed by effort. Acting as if you are the best is powerful, but it can quickly become meaningless if it is not supported by real effort. This is where many people go wrong. They adopt a confident attitude on the surface, but fail to put in the work required to grow. In reality, confidence without effort is fragile. It breaks the moment it is tested. True confidence is built through preparation, repetition, and experience. It comes from knowing that you have invested time and energy into improving yourself. When you combine belief with consistent action, you create a strong foundation that can handle pressure, challenges, and competition. There is an important truth that cannot be ignored. No matter how much you believe in yourself, results require work. Skills take time to develop. Knowledge requires study, and mastery demands patience. Acting as if you are the best means acting like someone who is committed to continuous improvement, not someone who expects success without effort. Effort is not just about working hard. It is about working with purpose. You must identify what needs to be improved and focus your energy on those areas. This requires honesty with yourself. You need to recognize your weaknesses, not to feel discouraged, but to create a plan for growth. Ignoring your limitations does not make them disappear. Addressing them does. Discipline plays a key role in turning belief into results. Motivation can give you a starting push, but discipline keeps you moving forward even when you do not feel like it. Acting as if you are the best means showing up consistently, even on days when your energy is low or your progress feels slow. Another important aspect is patience. Growth does not happen instantly, and expecting quick results can lead to frustration when things take time. It is easy to doubt yourself, but this is where your mindset matters the most. You must trust the process and continue putting in effort, even when results are not immediately visible. It is also important to understand that effort builds credibility, both with yourself and with others. When you know you have prepared well, your confidence becomes natural. You do not need to force it because it is supported by real work. At the same time, others begin to recognize your dedication and take you more seriously. Failure becomes a part of this journey as well when you are actively working toward improvement. Mistakes are inevitable, but instead of seeing them as proof that you are not good enough, you begin to see them as feedback. Each mistake shows you what needs to be adjusted and brings you closer to mastery. Consistency is what separates temporary motivation from long-term success. Small actions repeated daily create significant progress over time. Acting as if you are the best means committing to those small actions, even when they seem insignificant, because they build momentum and strengthen your foundation. Example 1. A person who wants to become physically fit may start with strong motivation and belief, but without consistent exercise, proper nutrition, and discipline. The results will not come, however, if they commit to a routine train regularly and stay consistent over time. Their body changes and their confidence becomes real because it is backed by effort. Example 2. A student preparing for an important exam may believe they can achieve high results, but if they rely only on that belief without studying, practicing, and reviewing material, they will struggle. On the other hand, if they combine confidence with structured study habits and regular revision, their performance improves and their belief becomes supported by real achievement. This chapter emphasizes a simple but powerful truth: belief starts the journey, but effort completes it. Acting as if you are the best is not about pretending. It is about aligning your mindset with actions that lead to real growth. When you commit to both belief and effort, you move from imagination to reality and from potential to actual success. Chapter 4. Overcoming external opinions. One of the greatest challenges in acting as if you are the best is learning how to deal with the opinions of others. Every person lives in a social environment where judgments, expectations, and comparisons are constantly present. From family to friends to colleagues, people will always have something to say about your choices, your abilities, and your direction. Problem is not that opinions exist. The problem is when those opinions begin to control your thinking. Many people limit themselves, not because they truly lack ability, but because they start believing what others say about them. When someone repeatedly hears that they are not good enough or not capable, they may begin to accept it as truth, even when it is not. Acting as if you are the best requires a shift from external validation to internal validation. This means that instead of relying on others to confirm your worth, you begin to trust your own effort, your own growth, and your own direction. This does not mean ignoring all feedback. It means learning to filter what is useful and what is not. There are two types of opinions you will face: one that is constructive and one that is limiting. Constructive opinions are based on observation and are meant to help you improve. They may point out your weaknesses or mistakes, but they do so in a way that encourages growth. Limiting opinions, on the other hand, are often based on fear, insecurity, or lack of understanding. They do not aim to help you grow. They simply attempt to define your limits. To move forward, you must develop the ability to separate these two types of input. This requires awareness and emotional control. Instead of reacting immediately to criticism, you take a moment to evaluate whether it contains value. If it does, you use it to improve. If it does not, you let it go without allowing it to affect your confidence in others. Important aspect is understanding that people often project their own fears onto others. Someone who has not taken risks may discourage you from taking them. Someone who doubts their own abilities may question yours. This does not make their opinion accurate. It simply reflects their perspective. When you act as if you are the best, you stop seeking constant approval. You begin to take responsibility for your own decisions and accept the outcomes that come with them. This builds independence and strength because your progress is no longer tied to changing opinions. At the same time, it is important to remain respectful and open-minded. Rejecting negative influence does not mean becoming closed off or defensive. You can listen, learn, and still choose Your own path confidence allows you to stand firm without becoming rigid. Courage plays a key role in this process. There will be moments when following your own belief feels uncomfortable, especially when it goes against the expectations of others. In those moments, you must remind yourself that growth often requires stepping away from familiar approval and moving toward uncertain progress. Over time, as you continue to act with confidence and produce results, the same people who once doubted you may begin to change their perspective. This is not because you convinced them with words, but because your actions created proof. However, your goal should not be to prove others wrong. Your goal should be to prove yourself right through consistent effort. Example 1. A young person decides to pursue a career that is not considered traditional in their environment. They are told that it is risky and unrealistic. Instead of giving up, they continue learning, building skills, and working toward their goal. Despite the doubts around them, over time, they achieve success and demonstrate that the limitations placed on them were not absolute. Example 2. An individual who wants to improve their lifestyle by adopting healthier habits faces criticism from friends who do not share the same mindset. They are told that their efforts are unnecessary or too difficult. Instead of being influenced, they stay consistent with their routine and gradually see positive changes in their health and energy, which reinforces their decision. This chapter highlights that external opinions will always exist, but they do not have to define your path. Acting as if you are the best means trusting your own journey while staying open to growth. It means building a level of confidence that is not easily shaken by criticism and not dependent on constant approval. When you master this balance, you create a strong foundation for long-term success. Chapter 5. Building the habit of confidence. Confidence is often misunderstood as something that people either have or do not have. But in reality, confidence is not a fixed trait. It is a habit that is built over time through repeated actions and consistent behavior. Just like any other habit, it can be developed, strengthened, and maintained with effort and awareness. Acting as if you are the best becomes easier when confidence is no longer something you try to force in specific situations, but something that naturally shows up in your daily life. This happens when your actions consistently support your belief in yourself instead of contradicting it. The process begins with small commitments. When you set a goal and follow through on it, no matter how simple it may seem, you send a message to your mind that you are reliable and capable. These small wins may not look significant at first, but they create a strong internal foundation over time. One of the key elements in building confidence is consistency. It is not about performing at a high level. Once it is about showing up regularly and putting in effort, even when motivation is low. Every time you take action, despite doubt, you strengthen your ability to trust yourself. Another important factor is stepping out of your comfort zone. Growth and confidence are closely connected. To discomfort, when you avoid challenges, you reinforce fear, but when you face them, even in small ways, you begin to reduce that fear and replace it with experience. Each new situation you handle successfully becomes evidence that you can handle more. Your body language and behavior also influence your confidence more than you might realize. The way you stand, speak, and interact with others sends signals to your mind as well as to the people around you. When you carry yourself with stability and clarity, your mind begins to align with that posture, creating a feedback loop that strengthens your confidence. Self-talk is another powerful tool in this process. The way you speak to yourself during difficult moments determines whether you move forward or step back. If your inner voice constantly questions your ability, you will hesitate, but if it encourages effort and problem solving, you will continue to act even when things are uncertain. It is also important to accept that confidence does not mean the absence of fear. Even the most confident individuals experience doubt and nervousness. The difference is that they do not allow those feelings to stop them. They act despite discomfort, and through that action, they gradually reduce its impact. Building the habit of confidence also requires patience. You will not feel strong every day, and there will be moments when you question your progress, but these moments are part of the process. What matters is that you continue to act in alignment with your goals, even when your emotions fluctuate. As this habit develops, you begin to notice a shift in how you approach life situations that once felt intimidating start to feel manageable. Your decision-making becomes clearer, and your willingness to take responsibility increases. This is the result of repeated actions that reinforce your belief in your own ability. Example 1. A person who struggles with social confidence decides to improve by starting small. They begin by initiating simple conversations, making eye contact, and speaking clearly, even if it feels uncomfortable at first. Over time, these repeated actions reduce anxiety and build a natural sense of confidence in social settings. Example 2. Someone who wants to become more disciplined in their work sets a routine and commits to completing tasks daily, even when they do not feel motivated. By sticking to this routine, they develop trust in their ability to follow through, and this trust translates into greater confidence in handling larger responsibilities. This chapter shows that confidence is not something you wait for, it is something you create through consistent action. Acting as if you are the best becomes realistic and sustainable when it is supported by daily habits that reinforce your belief in yourself. When you commit to building these habits, you move from temporary motivation to lasting confidence. Chapter 6. The role of failure in becoming the best. Failure is often seen as something negative, something to avoid, or something that defines a person's limits. But in reality, failure is one of the most important parts of growth. Acting as if you are the best does not mean that you will always succeed. It means that you are willing to face failure without allowing it to break your confidence or stop your progress. Many people hold themselves back because they are afraid of making mistakes. They want certainty before they act, and they avoid situations where failure is possible. This fear creates stagnation because growth only happens when you step into the unknown and challenge your current ability. You adopt the mindset of acting as if you are the best. Your relationship with failure begins to change. You stop seeing it as a final outcome and start seeing it as feedback. Each mistake becomes a source of information that helps you improve. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" you begin to ask, "What can I learn from this?" This shift is powerful because it removes the emotional weight that often comes with failure. Instead of feeling defeated, you become curious and focused on improvement. This allows you to recover faster and continue moving forward without losing momentum. Another important aspect is resilience. Resilience is the ability to continue despite setbacks, and it is built through experience. Every time you face a difficulty and keep going, you strengthen your ability to handle future challenges. Acting as if you are the best means developing this resilience so that failure becomes a temporary obstacle rather than a permanent barrier. It is also important to understand that failure often reveals gaps in knowledge, skill, or strategy. These gaps are not weaknesses to hide, they are areas to improve. When you identify them clearly, you can take specific actions to address them and become stronger than before. At the same time, you must avoid the trap of repeating the same mistakes without learning. Progress comes from reflection and adjustment. After each setback, you need to analyze what went wrong, what could be done differently, and how you can apply that lesson moving forward. Patience plays a key role in this process. Success is rarely immediate, and expecting perfection too early can lead to frustration. When you accept that failure is part of the journey, you become more patient with yourself and more committed to long-term growth. Another important point is that failure often builds confidence in a different way. When you overcome challenges, you realize that you can handle difficult situations. This creates a deeper level of confidence that is not based on easy success, but on real experience and effort. Acting as if you are the best means continuing to move forward even when things do not go as planned. It means maintaining belief in your ability to improve, even when results are not immediate, and it means understanding that every setback is part of the process of becoming stronger. Example 1. A person starts a small business with high expectations, but struggles to attract customers. Instead of giving up, they analyze their approach, improve their marketing, and adjust their strategy over time. They begin to understand the market better, and their business starts to grow. The initial failure becomes the foundation for future success. Example 2. A student fails an important exam and feels discouraged at first, but instead of quitting, they review their mistakes, change their study methods, and seek help where needed. In the next attempt, they perform much better because they use their failure as a learning experience rather than a stopping point. This chapter highlights that failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of the path. Acting as if you are the best means accepting this reality and using every setback as an opportunity to grow stronger. When you develop this mindset, failure loses its power to stop you and becomes a tool that moves you forward. Chapter 7. Staying grounded while aiming high. Acting as if you are the best requires confidence, but it also requires balance. Without balance, confidence can turn into overconfidence, and ambition can turn into disconnection from reality. This is why staying grounded while aiming high is essential for long-term growth and success. Being grounded means understanding your current position, your strengths, and your limitations without denying any part of it. It means having a clear awareness of where you stand while still believing in where you can go. This awareness keeps your growth realistic and sustainable. Many people make the mistake of either underestimating themselves or overestimating themselves. When you underestimate yourself, you hesitate and hold back. When you overestimate yourself without effort, you become careless and stop improving. The goal is to stay in the middle, where you believe in your potential but remain committed to learning and growth. Humility plays a key role in staying grounded. Humility is not about thinking less of yourself. It is about being open to learning and accepting that there is always room for improvement. No matter how much progress you make, there will always be new challenges, new skills to develop, and new perspectives to understand. At the same time, aiming high is important because it gives direction and purpose. When you set high standards for yourself, you push beyond your comfort zone and explore your full potential. Acting as if you are the best means setting goals that challenge you while maintaining the discipline to work toward them step by step. Another important aspect is avoiding complacency. Early success can sometimes create a false sense of completion. When things start going well, it is easy to relax and assume that no further effort is needed. But true growth requires continuous effort. Staying grounded helps you remember that progress is ongoing and that consistency is still required. Comparison can also affect your ability to stay balanced. If you constantly compare yourself to others, you may either feel inferior or develop unnecessary pride. Both can distract you from your own journey. Instead, focus on your personal progress. Measure how far you have come and identify what needs to be improved. Gratitude is another factor that helps you stay grounded. Recognizing your progress, your opportunities, and the support you receive keeps you connected to reality. It prevents you from becoming disconnected or overly focused on proving yourself. At the same time, you must protect your ambition. Aiming high means not settling for less than what you are capable of becoming. It means continuing to push forward even when progress is slow, and staying committed to your goals even when challenges appear. This balance between confidence and humility creates stability. It allows you to move forward with strength while staying open to growth. It prevents you from being easily shaken by success or failure because you understand that both are part of the journey. Example 1. A professional achieves success early in their career and gains recognition. Instead of becoming overconfident, they continue learning, developing new skills, and improving their work. This approach helps them maintain their success and continue growing over time. Example 2. A student who performs well in exams does not assume they have reached their limit. They continue studying, exploring new subjects, and challenging themselves. This keeps their progress consistent and prevents stagnation. This chapter shows that acting as if you are the best is not about losing touch with reality. It is about combining belief with awareness. When you stay grounded while aiming high, you create a mindset that is both strong and flexible. This balance allows you to grow continuously without losing direction or becoming limited by extremes. Chapter 8: Turning Mindset into Results. A strong mindset is powerful, but it only becomes meaningful when it leads to real results. Acting as if you are the best is not just about thinking differently, it is about living differently in a way that produces visible progress in your life. Many people feel motivated for a short time. They think positively and set intentions but fail to follow through with consistent action. This creates a gap between what they believe and what they achieve. Closing this gap is the key to turning mindset into results. The first step is clarity. You need to know what you are working toward. Without a clear direction, even strong belief can become scattered. When you define new goals clearly, your actions become more focused and your effort becomes more effective. Once you have direction, the next step is execution. This is where most of the real work happens. Acting as if you are the best means taking responsibility for your actions every day. It means showing up even when you do not feel motivated and continuing to move forward even when progress feels slow. Consistency is what transforms effort into achievement. Small actions repeated daily create momentum, and over time, that momentum leads to significant results. It is not about making one big move, it is about making steady progress without stopping. Another important factor is adaptability. No plan works perfectly from the beginning. Challenges will appear and circumstances will change. When this happens, you must be willing to adjust your approach without losing your focus. This flexibility allows you to continue progressing even when things do not go as expected. Your progress is also essential when you measure your actions and results. You gain a clearer understanding of what is working and what needs improvement. This awareness helps you make better decisions and stay aligned with your goals. Discipline continues to play a central role at this stage. Mindset may give you the vision, but discipline ensures that you follow through. It keeps you committed even when the excitement fades, and it helps you maintain structure in your efforts. It is also important to recognize that results take time. There will be periods where your effort does not immediately reflect in visible success. During these times, patience and persistence become critical. You must trust that your consistent actions are building something even if you cannot see it yet. Another key point is accountability. When you take full responsibility for your outcomes, you stop making excuses and start making adjustments. This shift gives you control over your progress because you focus on what you can change rather than what you cannot. Your actions continue to align with your mindset. You begin to see real changes. Your skills improve. Your confidence becomes stronger and opportunities begin to appear. This is the point where acting as if you are the best starts turning into actually becoming better through experience and effort. Example 1: a person who wants to build a career in writing sets a clear goal of improving their skill. They commit to writing every day, learning from feedback and refining their work over time. Their consistency leads to completed projects and growing recognition. Their mindset becomes reality through disciplined action. Example 2: an individual aiming to improve their financial situation starts by setting clear financial goals, managing their spending, and developing new sources of income. Through consistent effort and smart decisions, they gradually build stability and growth, turning their belief in improvement into measurable results. This chapter brings everything together by showing that mindset alone is not the final step. It is the starting point. Acting as if you are the best becomes powerful when it is supported by clear goals, consistent action, and continuous improvement. When you align your thoughts with your actions, you create a path where your potential turns into real achievement and your belief transforms. Into Results Chapter 9, Becoming the Identity, Not the Image Acting. As if you are the best is not something you do for a moment. It is something you become over time. It is not about creating an image. For others, it is about building an identity. For yourself that guides your behavior in every situation. Most people try to look confident. Instead of becoming confident, they focus on appearance. Instead of foundation, this creates a weak mindset because the moment pressure increases the image. Breaks, but identity stays strong because it is built through experience and repetition. When you develop an identity of someone who is capable, disciplined, and focused, your actions naturally follow that identity. You no longer need to force motivation because your behavior becomes automatic based on who you believe you are. This is where transformation becomes real. You stop asking what should I do and start acting based on who you are becoming. Every decision becomes easier because it is aligned with your identity rather than temporary emotion. Building identity requires repetition of action. You cannot simply decide it once and expect change. It is created through consistent behavior over time. Every time you show discipline, you strengthen that identity. Every time you avoid effort, you weaken it. This process is gradual, but powerful. Small actions repeated daily reshape how you see yourself and how you respond to challenges. Eventually, your identity becomes stronger than your doubt. Another important part of identity is self-respect. When you act in alignment with your goals, you build respect for yourself. When you break your own standards, you weaken that respect. Acting as if you are the best means protecting your standards, even when no one is watching. Your environment also plays a role in shaping identity. The people you spend time with, the content you consume, and the habits you follow all influence how you think and behave. Choosing a positive, growth-focused environment supports the identity you want to build. Fear and doubt will still appear, but identity gives you direction even in uncertain moments. When you know who you are becoming, you are less likely to quit because your actions are guided by something deeper than emotion. At this stage, success is no longer just about results. It becomes about alignment. You are no longer trying to prove anything. You are simply living according to the identity you have built through consistent effort. Example 1. A person who wants to become a disciplined learner starts identifying themselves as someone who studies daily, even before they fully feel like it. They commit to showing up every day, and slowly this identity becomes real as their habits strengthen and their performance improves. Example 2. An individual working on personal growth begins to see themselves as someone who improves every day. They start reading, practicing, and reflecting regularly. Over time, this consistent behavior shapes a stronger identity that naturally leads to better decisions and outcomes. This chapter shows that true change happens when mindset becomes identity. Acting as if you are the best is not a temporary performance. It is a long-term transformation of how you see yourself. When your identity changes, your actions change, and when your actions change, your life follows. Chapter 10, the discipline that protects your potential. Every person has potential, but very few are able to protect it long enough to turn it into reality. The difference is discipline. Acting as if you are the best is meaningless without discipline, because discipline is what ensures that your mindset survives beyond motivation. Motivation comes and goes. It is temporary and emotional. It can inspire you for a short period, but it cannot carry you through difficult days. Discipline is what continues when motivation disappears. It is the structure that keeps your actions aligned with your goals, even when you do not feel like it. Discipline is not punishment. It is self-leadership. It is the ability to guide yourself toward what matters instead of being controlled by comfort or distraction. When you act with discipline, you are choosing long-term growth over short-term pleasure. Many people fail not because they lack talent, but because they lack consistency. They start strong, but stop when things become difficult. Acting as if you are the best means refusing to stop when progress slows. It means continuing even when results are not immediate. Building discipline begins With small commitments, when you keep small promises to yourself, you develop trust in your own actions. This trust becomes the foundation of stronger discipline. Over time, you begin to rely on yourself more than external pressure. Discipline also requires structure. When your day is organized and your priorities are clear, you reduce confusion and wasted energy. Structure helps you stay focused on what actually matters instead of reacting to distractions. Another important element is emotional control. There will be days when you feel tired, unmotivated, or discouraged. Discipline is the ability to act anyway, not because you feel like it, but because you understand the importance of consistency. It is also important to recognize that discipline builds freedom, not restriction. When you control your actions, you create better outcomes. Better outcomes lead to more opportunities and more freedom in life. Without discipline, potential remains unused. Failures and setbacks test your discipline. The true measure of commitment is not how you act when things are easy, but how you respond when things are difficult. Acting as if you are the best means continuing even when progress feels slow or invisible. Over time, disciplined actions become habits, and habits become identity. When discipline becomes part of who you are, success becomes more natural because your behavior consistently supports your goals. Example 1. A person who wants to improve their fitness starts exercising every day, even when they do not feel motivated. At first it feels difficult, but over time, the routine becomes normal, and their body and mindset both improve because they stayed disciplined. Example 2. A student preparing for an important exam creates a strict study schedule and follows it daily. Even when distractions appear, by sticking to this structure consistently, they improve their understanding and achieve better results than before. This chapter highlights a simple truth: potential without discipline remains unused. Acting as if you are the best requires consistent effort, structured behavior, and emotional control. When you develop discipline, you protect your potential and turn it into real achievement. Your mindset becomes powerful, not because it is positive, but because it is consistent and action-driven. Conclusion: acting as if you are the best is not about pretending. It is about transforming the way you think, behave, and grow throughout life. It is a mindset that pushes you to rise above hesitation and step into action even when you do not feel fully ready. Across all chapters, the central idea remains the same: belief alone is not enough, and effort alone is incomplete. Real growth happens when mindset and action work together. When you believe in your potential and also commit to consistent discipline, improvement, and responsibility. This journey is not about comparing yourself with others or trying to prove superiority. It is about building a stronger version of yourself than you were yesterday. It is about developing confidence through experience, strength through failure, and clarity through action. You will face doubt and challenges, but those moments are not signs of weakness. They are part of the process. Every setback teaches something. Every failure reveals a lesson, and every difficult situation builds resilience. When you choose to keep moving forward, the most important transformation in this entire mindset is internal. You begin to see yourself differently, not as someone waiting for success, but as someone actively creating it. Your identity shifts, your habits improve, and your actions become more intentional. Discipline becomes your foundation. Confidence becomes your behavior, and consistency becomes your strength. Over time, what once felt like effort begins to feel natural because you have trained yourself to operate at a higher standard. Ultimately, acting as if you are the best is not about claiming a position above others. It is about refusing to stay below your own potential. It is about deciding that your life will be shaped by effort, growth, and belief, rather than fear, doubt, or limitation. When mindset becomes action, and action becomes habit, your results begin to change naturally. And at that point, you realize that the real power was never in pretending, it was always in becoming. The end.
Kindly subscribe to my channel.